So the next thing we're going to do is we've got 3 provocations. We invited lots of people to come and talk, and a few people said that they couldn't come because of various things going on in their lives, but they would like to share something. So we've got a few different things that people have sent that they would like us to share with you. So we've got one thing from the artist Andy Smith, A. Smith, who's based in Lancaster, and he's written something for me to read out as Andy Smith. Hello, my name is Andy Smith. I'm based in the northwest of England. I've moved around a bit, but you might be able to hear from my accent that I'm originally from there. I'm 44 years old. As you can see, I've got a bit of grey in my hair and in my beard. My hairdresser says that I should say it's ash blonde. I don't know. I'd like to thank residents for inviting me to talk here today. I'm honoured to be here amongst such company. I'm flattered that anyone might think I could contribute to these thoughts and this discussion. I think it's an important one. I'm fortunate to be able to say that I've been involved in making theatre for over 20 years now, and that for the last 12 or so of those, it's been pretty much all I've done. Of course, when I say that this is all I've done, I mean that I have been doing all sorts of things, writing and performing and directing and co-directing. In this time, I've also studied and taught and mentored and advised and sometimes given talks like this. Sometimes I've been paid for these things and sometimes I haven't. Sometimes I feel like I've made bad or wrong decisions doing them, and sometimes I think I haven't. However I feel about them, I think that all of these things have probably contributed in some way to my development and survival, and perhaps what we might even call longevity as an artist. I don't know. I think it's good to be asked to talk and reflect on this stuff here today. It's not an easy thing to do. It's not been an easy thing to think about and to think about talking about. I should say that I think these are pretty much notes to myself on how to survive and keep going as much as to anyone else, and that they really only boil down to one thing. After really considering it, I've decided that if I really have anything useful to offer this room about how to keep going or surviving as an artist, then it is simply this: hold your nerve. I'm sure that everyone knows as well as I do the anxiety and difficulty and precarious nature, financial and mental, as well as a few other things besides, of what we all might be up to. I haven't researched it extensively, but as far as I know, we might call the broad insecurity of doing this theatre or dance or live or contemporary art or whatever we want to call it doesn't stop. At least it hasn't for me yet. But even though we can have days where we wonder what the point of it is, even when we can feel pissed off because we never got the commission, or the application was unsuccessful, or we found out we never got into this or that festival when our mates did. Even when all that is happening, that rush of enjoyment or thrill or fulfillment or meaning or matter or purpose of doing it doesn't stop either. At least it hasn't for me yet. I don't know. I don't know how you started doing this. Maybe, like me, you started out copying or imitating some or all of someone or something else and slowly let it become what it became. Maybe you've always managed to get paid for it. Maybe you never have. Maybe you've been doing this for a while now too. Maybe you're just starting out. Maybe you're thinking about giving up. Maybe you're here waiting for some advice to be shown, or to be shown the way, hoping for some nugget of wisdom that I or someone else here that is speaking today who has been doing this over what we might call a longer period of time might offer you. I don't know. What I think I do know is this: only you can make the work that you make, and only you are able to make the work that you want to make. You might want to, say, unpack the influence of Americana and its comment on the ubiquitous influence on capitalism in our culture. You might want to gently explore our differences in a series of intimate encounters and interactions. You might want to travel to Mars. Good. Do that. Do that and hold your nerve. Do that, or something else, and try not to let the doubts or demons that are knocking on any of the metaphorical or actual doors creep in. Try not to let those other voices that you hear, you know the ones I'm talking about, disrupt you. Don't ignore these voices. They are your contemporaries and your audiences and your critics. They are the commissioning organisations or funding bodies or partners, all of whom want to tell you what they think. They are the people who want or... Sorry, I can't sight read very well. They are the people who want or have been invited to offer you advice, like me, Andy Smith, the man standing in front of you here and now. Don't ignore these voices, but don't let them get in your way. Let the discussions and comments help you if you want, but first make sure that you listen to yourself. Make sure you listen to yourself. Listen to yourself and hold your nerve. Hold your nerve. Don't be afraid of big and sometimes stupid questions. Questions like this. What are we all doing? What are we all talking about? How do we do this? How do we do this now? Why are we here? Why are you here? I don't know. Maybe you are struggling. Maybe you feel like maybe you don't feel like you've got enough time. Maybe you feel like things are going well for you at the moment. Maybe you want to say no to an offer even though it pays well. Maybe you think you need to change direction. Maybe you think you've found the answer. Maybe you want or think you deserve more recognition. Maybe you don't want to do this anymore. Maybe you think you're not doing it enough. Maybe you feel like everyone else is doing better than you. Maybe you feel like you're enjoying the solidarity that a day like today is bringing. I don't know. If you're anything like me, then maybe you think all of this. Maybe you think things like this all the time, and sometimes... Maybe you think things like this all the time, and sometimes all at the same time. I don't know. I'm trying to be honest. I think that it's probably good to try and be honest. Be honest about what you're doing. Be honest with yourself and about what you have. Be honest about what you need. Be honest about what you want and what you're able to do. Be honest to yourself about what might be achievable and what you might want to be achievable. Be honest if you want more money. Be honest if you think you don't really need it. Be honest if you think you really don't need what is being offered to you, whatever it might be. You might need nothing. You might need 500 performers and a budget of over £500,000. If that's what you need, then so be it. Both are possible, as is everything in between. Just think about what you want and then hold your nerve and find a way to make that happen. But make sure it's what you want. Make sure you think about what you want. What do you want? Have you seen any of my work? It doesn't matter if you haven't. A lot of it looks a bit like this. I stand or sometimes sit and talk to people like this. And I hope I ask some questions, and I hope I leave a lot of space. Probably I should be leaving more space. Space so you can think about some stuff too. I started off making things like this, things where I could just stand or sit or talk to people like this, because I couldn't really afford to do anything else. I would rehearse them in my bedsit and then I would go out and do them. Then as time went on and I felt a bit more established, and I found out that people might want me to do more of what I did and even give me money to do it. And I tried and have tried doing and done other things, but I carry on doing things like this because I became interested in it. It is something I have become interested in. I became interested in this as an aesthetic choice and idea. The idea is all we need. I'm interested in drawing attention to this situation, trying to encourage us to all think about what the potential of all this is. Because wherever we are and whatever we're doing or interested in doing, I hope that we can find the possibility and optimism in the circumstances that we might find ourselves in or that are presented to us. It's not always easy, but I'm interested in looking to find a way to make the situation good, to manage to do something if we want to, even if it seems like we can't. Like, if a set of circumstances meant that I wasn't able to give this talk, for example, I'd try and find a way that I could. I think this is a good situation. What it offers us, what it can offer us. I think this is what I want most of the time. I think we can do a lot here together. That we can do that by one of us standing and talking like this, like many of us could stand and talk like this. It doesn't have to be me. Of course, I also want to admit that half the time I don't know what I want, but I have an instinct about it, and and experience has taught me that it might be good to follow that. What is your instinct? Hold your nerve and follow that, and try not to worry. I say that even though you know, I say that even though you know that you will, I say that even though you know that you will worry like I worry. I worry all the time. I'm worrying now. I'm worrying that you are perhaps looking at me standing here talking like this and thinking, look at him. Listen to this privileged middle-aged white man talking about the ash blonde in his hair and his beard. Blah, blah, blah. There's nothing that he knows about what I'm thinking and doing. He's just been lucky and he doesn't understand what I'm going through. It's true. I don't. But I can only be honest. And I think I am lucky. But I also think that I've worked pretty hard. And I think that I've ended up here, wherever here might be, whatever it might mean, because I've held my nerve and got on with it. I've done that, and I'm planning to continue to do that. I'm incredibly fortunate to be able to stand in front of you and say things like this. Like I said, I'm flattered that the people at Residence think that I might be considered to have the experience to be able to say something like this to you. It's true that I've been doing this for a long time, and in that time I've reached both more clarity and more confusion. This is a position from where I write and talk to you today. This is who I am. I don't know. I don't understand a lot of things, but I think that's part of why I got into doing this in the first place. I'm often frustrated, but I think that's part of why I got into doing this too. I'm frustrated, for example, by the many systems in both the world and the theatre that we are asked to operate in. I'm frustrated about how I don't always seem to fit into those operations or activities. I'm frustrated about how sometimes we don't get paid enough or we feel that we don't get paid enough. I'm frustrated at how we sometimes have to make what seems like a concession or a compromise too far. I still believe in what I'm doing though. I think a lot of this is about belief. Belief about what we're up to, even though a lot of the time it feels challenging and difficult and ineffective and inconsequential. Because one of the things that I love about theatre, about all art, but what I particularly choose to express and try through something I call theatre, is the potential for transformation that it offers, or at least the potential to think about that. I love the capacity it offers to think or see something differently, our lives and our situations and the spaces we are in. I love the fact that it offers me, Andy Smith, the capacity to be in this room here with you now, here and now, like this, talking about who I am and what I am doing, hopefully giving us all a chance or a frame to think about the particulars of what we're doing, the differences and similarities. I love that together we can do some thinking about how we might go about it and how we can keep going about it, how we might keep on holding our nerve. I don't know. There's a struggle on, isn't there? We're all living in a time where it just feels like it might be more precarious than ever before, not just in terms of financial stability, but in terms of how the world is working or not working. Depending on your perspective, it can feel like a confusing and complex and scary and difficult place. So how do we carry on? Of course, I don't know. So I suppose that all I really want to do is try and use this opportunity to do what I think that theatre or live art or whatever you want to call it, whatever you want to call what you do does best. And that's allow us to reflect a bit on all of this and recognise and recompose ourselves. I'm sorry. I hope you weren't expecting more. I don't imagine that any of us have been invited to talk or contribute today really have an answer to how we might be still standing or how to stay standing. It's a shame, isn't it? But look, here we all are. We're all coming at this from different places and directions. We all have diverse and different practices. So I'll take this opportunity to